The final Friday feedback of the Biden administration is today, and we do start with a poll we did of our audience. Remember, you can email info@davidpakman.com if you have feedback of any kind that you would potentially like included on Friday feedback. We did a poll, and we asked our YouTube viewers, which of the following will most define Joe Biden's presidency in history? 42% of you said that it will be domestic policy. Build Back Better, Chips and Science Act, etc. 42% of you. 27% of you said that preceding a second Trump term will be the defining moment of Biden's presidency, sort of that he's the guy who came in for 4 years before Trump got another term. 16% of you said that pandemic response will be Biden's legacy. And 15% of you said that foreign policy, Ukraine, Gaza, etc., will be Biden's legacy. I think basically I agree with the bulk of the audience, which is that 69% of respondents believe that Biden's placement between two Trump terms and or domestic policy are what Biden will be remembered for. And I would actually wrap pandemic response into domestic policy, because much of the domestic policy, including Inflation Reduction Act and infrastructure, it's sort of wrapped up with post-pandemic stuff anyway. A lot of the economic record of Biden is implicitly a post-pandemic economy where inflation came down more quickly in the United States than other Western, wealthier countries. So I actually almost even think pandemic response is like kind of part of domestic policy. And that altogether gives you 85%. I simply don't see any evidence that Biden's defining legacy will be foreign policy like Ukraine or Gaza. The most notable Biden foreign policy, in my mind, is he got us out of Afghanistan. It was messy. It was destined to be messy, no matter who did it. It was Trump's plan to do it. Trump failed to do it. Biden executed it. Yes, it was messy, but we got out of there and we needed to get out of there. I think that's far more defining in the sense that Ukraine stuff, Gaza stuff is really much more coalition oriented, involving many other countries to greater degrees. Whereas just putting your foot down and saying, we are getting out of Afghanistan, I think is much more pointedly Biden. But I do agree, domestic policy is probably what Biden will be most remembered for. Badger Flower asked on the subreddit, what would a J.D. Vance presidency look like? With Trump getting older and the possibility of health issues while in office, I can't help but wonder, what would a Vance presidency look like? I feel like this hasn't been discussed much, even though it's not far-fetched. Vance has aligned himself closely with Trump and MAGA, but he's shown moments of independence earlier in his career. Would Vance continue Trumpism, sticking close to the movement, or would he chart a different course, balancing MAGA populism with intellectual or policy-driven approach? I'm curious. Yeah, no, listen, J.D. Vance is J.D. Vance is most known to me for pretending to be things he very much is not. J.D. Vance is not an intellectual. J.D. Vance's story about like the total poverty, abject poverty upbringing does not match with what we now know to be his background. And for Vance's guiding sort of principle is, what do I have to say or who do I have to suck up to get close to power? Which is actually very much in line with Trump's ideology as well. It's interesting that although they seem very different in a lot of ways, and for a period of time, they claimed to be very different politically, with Vance saying horrible things about Trump, America's Hitler, and all this other stuff. The reality is, Vance, like Trump, wants to be close to power, have powerful friends, and be adjacent to money and access and power. And so the guiding principle of a hypothetical Vance presidency is going to be, he'll do whatever he needs to do to keep power. If it's be more Trumpy, he'll do it. If it's be less MAGA-y, he will do that. It's that simple. Skate Cloud asks on the subreddit, how are you all preparing for the very possible Trump recession? My dad, who's more fiscally conservative, not a fan of Trump though, thinks that the way the market is reacting to Trump before office, as well as his tariff policies, have a high likelihood to lead to a recession soon. Curious if anyone has plans. So here's what I'm doing. I do think that it is completely plausible that there will be a Trump recession. I think it's completely plausible that there won't. I don't pretend to know. So I know I haven't done this for a little while now, but I'll give you my sort of financial framework. This is not advice for anyone. It's merely informational that this is what I do. Since I don't know what's going to happen in the stock market, I've decided what is my risk tolerance and what is the appropriate asset allocation for me for that risk tolerance. And I just keep investing. Every month, I know how much cash do I want, how much stock do I want, how much in bonds do I want, how much in cryptocurrency do I want. The crypto is 2.5%, by the way. It's not a lot. And I just keep doing that. If the stock market were to rise, if the economy were to do well and the show were to grow because all of a sudden all these people now have more money with which to get memberships, and great. I've decided the right asset allocation and I will be positioned for that. If we are going to see a stock market crash, if we are going to see a recession such that people start canceling memberships in droves, I've determined an asset allocation that makes sense for me. And if the stock market is at a discount, my investments will now get me more shares. And over the long term, it'll all even out. That's my approach. Nick Majuli has written about this extensively in his book, Just Keep Buying. And it's basically my plan, which is make sure I've got the right risk tolerance and the asset allocation that goes with it, period. Okay. Arduino Genome says, do Democrats have a plan to win in 2028? I stumbled across this Babylon Bee post this morning. It's funny. The takeaway is democracy was never going to end with the 2024 election if Trump won. Change the pronunciation of some words to categorize voters. Consider changing the pronunciation of some words through categorized voters. Then do more of the same, but times two. Discuss potential solutions that are extremely funny. Okay. Forget about this Babylon Bee thing. It seems like a verbal ink blot. Do Democrats have a plan to win in 2028? The answer is no. Is this a red alert moment? Well, you definitely need a plan. Do you need it before Trump's even inaugurated? Maybe not. But Democrats would be very well positioned if they could come up with a plan. 2024 did not work. The last minute replacement of Biden with a candidate that some felt didn't democratically come to be in that nominated role, who could not articulate a policy vision that really connected with people, all of it, okay? It didn't work well. It didn't work well. So Democrats need a plan. It needs to be different than 2024. I don't know that they need to have that plan today, but they definitely need to have it soon. And we're going to be, once Trump is inaugurated and we start evaluating the record of Trump, it's definitely something we're going to be talking about significantly. Over on Facebook, Cultal Aiders says, Dear liberals, what David Pakman failed to inform you all is the billionaires and multimillionaires is he putting in his cabinet are not getting any sort of salary. They are all working for free. And all these people are not getting any kind of government pensions after they retire. Please do not be fooled or gaslit by Pakman to believe this. Pakman is a political liar. Listen, this is maybe the dumbest comment I've gotten in a while. Elon Musk isn't getting paid to run Doge. Therefore, what he's doing is not self-serving. If Elon Musk were to get paid, I think like a pretty standard advisor salary in the White House is $180 a year. Elon Musk foregoing $180 a year for tax and regulatory goodies that might earn him billions. I'm so sorry if I don't call it an act of selflessness, okay? Billionaires working for free in the cabinet and potentially having billions on the backside or hundreds of millions due to the way in which they will steer government regulation or decisions about contracts or whatever else. It's not this incredible just, oh, they're martyrs. They're accepting no salary. They could get paid $180,000 a year, but they're saying, I don't need it. It's so great. Billions are at stake for a lot of these people. So don't give me this crap about they're selflessly working with no salary. Louisiana Pelican says America can't annex Greenland, Canada, and Panama. Trump knows this, but that isn't the point. He's trying to shift media focus from his cabinet picks. Yeah, this person goes on to explain that all of the I'll buy this and take that stuff is just to distract from having nominated Hegseth and Tulsi and whatever. I think there's a degree to which that may be true, but the primary reason there hasn't been as much focus on the cabinet picks recently is there hasn't been any news. The Trump transition team has told the cabinet picks, stop posting on social media, stop saying things, just wait till the confirmation hearings. They were selected a little while ago, and the confirmation hearings haven't started, and they've stopped making public statements. That's really why it's not in the news. Is it possible that Trump is trying to take attention away from it this way? Maybe. But the real reason that it's not being discussed much right now is simply because they've shut up. And my guess is, and my hope is, that once the confirmation hearings start, all of the concerns about Hegseth and Tulsi and Kash Patel, that it'll all come back. Z Zahn says, funny, bird flu is under this administration and doing nothing about it, so you can say it's Trump's fault. See, though, this bullshit. I think what Z is inarticulately trying to say is that Biden is deliberately doing nothing about bird flu now so that it'll be really bad under Trump, so that then Biden at 80 something years old can go, look, bird flu is Trump's fault. That's not anything that sounds like Biden to me. And this is, how do people come up with this crap? This is what you spend time thinking about? Really, really weird. Skate Cloud asks, in retrospect, do you think Kamala ran a bad campaign? In the beginning, her campaign seemed quite strong. Major rallies wrecking Trump in the debate. But cracks were showing when all her public events were very scripted, and she went around campaigning with Liz Cheney, and the data showed it basically won over no Republicans, which seems clownish in retrospect. Yeah, the Harris campaign started strong, and then all of a sudden it seems as though the consultants and the focus group people and everybody got involved, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, Tim Walz isn't talking about them being weird anymore. Harris shifts to a very rehearsed, identical sounding speech at every single event, pushing policies that, while fine, don't resonate with the vast majority of Americans. $50,000 deductible small business startup expenses. I mean, I agree with the policy, but how many people are really going to move with that? So ultimately, it was not an effective campaign. It did start strong. I'd say the first month was really good. The polling reflected it. And then it petered and petered and petered off. And we know what the outcome ultimately was. A lot for Democrats to learn. Will they learn and put it to good use in 2026 and, just as importantly, 2028? Remains to be seen. info@davidpakman.com if you have something you'd like included in Friday feedback. I will remind you, there is a deadline for getting your free stuff with my book. If you have pre-ordered my book, you are entitled to free stuff, but you must submit your proof of order at davidpakman.com/free book stuff by 11:59 p.m. on January 25th. After that point, there is nothing I will be able to do to get you the free stuff. It's completely handled and fulfilled by my publisher. I have been told the deadline is January 25th. davidpakman.com/free book stuff. Only about 40% of those who pre-ordered the book have requested their free stuff. Some people maybe don't want the free stuff. Fine. Peace and love. If you do, I don't want you disappointed and furious with me. So the deadline is January 25, davidpakman.com/free book stuff. We will see you on the bonus show. Did you know that countless commercial databases and people search sites are storing your personal information? Anyone, from an employer to a former partner, can use these platforms to get details about your online presence, your home address, phone number, email, license plate, family members, financial information, even political views. Europe has laws that offer some protection, but in the US, the data is widely accessible. Even the FBI will buy this information from companies to spy on people without a search warrant. Our sponsor, Incogni, provides a solution. It takes just seconds to sign up, and Incogni will send removal requests to all of the major data brokers, legally compelling them to get rid of your data. Incogni keeps you informed throughout the process. You'll get real-time updates, who has complied, which ones are still pending. They'll handle follow-ups, they'll handle appeals on your behalf, and this will save you hundreds of hours. Very few people have the time or resources to do this on their own. This service can also reduce the number of spam calls and emails you get, since many solicitors and scammers get your information from these very same sources. Go to incogni.com/Pakman and use the code Pakman for 60% off. The link is below.